What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to continue learning about World War One. Specifically today we're going to look at what finally makes the U.S. enter the war. So when the war first begins, the United States is neutral. They don't want to get involved. But there are some events that lead to the United States ultimately fighting in World War One and what could have been the turning point of the war. All right? So first, let's get some backdrop. Let's look at before the U.S. gets involved. So before the U.S. gets involved, the United States claims they are neutral in thought and action. They weren't going to think that they wanted a specific side to win, and they weren't going to act like they had a specific side that wanted to win. Well, the problem with that is that this is what the United States says, but what they're doing is, once again, you have the United States, but the U.S. still has to trade. So when it comes to trade, they're trading with both sides. You got the trade with Germany, and you also have trade with Great Britain. All right. Well, the problem is that the United States is trading with Great Britain a lot more than they are trading with Germany. And ultimately, they end up trading an amount that equals $2 billion in war supplies. $2 billion in war supplies. This could be ammo, guns, tank supplies, plane supplies, grenades, whatever. This copious trade back and forth, compared to the not so much trade with Germany, brings this neutrality into question. And so the thought is, from Germany, Germany's thinking, is the United States really neutral? Because you can say one thing, but actions speak louder than words. So you can say that you're neutral all you want, but when your actions show otherwise, the other side's going to get upset. And so it seems like the United States has picked a side. So to put it in different terms, let's say if we were sitting and meeting in class, and I split the class in half, and I said, you guys are going to battle it out for who gets to stay in class, who gets to be in here, fight. The half that loses, they lose, and that's it. I'm not going to help them anymore. I'm going to stay neutral. I'm not going to do anything. In fact, I'm going to trade with both sides. I'm going to give one side knives. I'm going to give the other side handguns. Well, clearly, in a fight to the death, I have picked a side. I've given both sides weapons, but I've given one side far superior weapons for the task at hand. And so this is an example of what the U.S. is doing when they're neutral to begin World War I. So the war progresses, and Germany needs an advantage. And well, what they do is they develop one. Their technology, or through their technological advancements, they develop a boat that can go underwater. They call it an underwater boat. All right, and it's called an underwater boat, or a U-boat for short. The U-boat is a German submarine. German submarine, U-boat, they're the same thing. So the U-boat starts shooting torpedoes. U-boat shoots torpedoes because, again, the Germans are looking for an advantage. And so one torpedo hits a ship called the Lusitania. Well, the Lusitania had U.S. people, civilians, on board. Now, why, when you know the Germans are blowing up ships that are coming to Europe, you get on a boat that's traveling to Europe? I don't know. I wouldn't get on that boat. That's just me. But there are U.S. citizens on it. And the Germans blow it up. And they blow it up because they believe, and they are correct, that there is contraband on the ship. Contraband being things that if the U.S. was neutral, they wouldn't be trading with Europe or with Great Britain. I apologize. And so there's contraband. What ends up happening is that they're right. Woodrow Wilson, the president at the time, demands that the Germans apologize and they stop using submarine warfare. Well, the Germans are not going to do that. They apologize. They don't really mean it. But the United States remains neutral. They do not engage. They don't go to war. Well, the next event is another torpedo at another ship, this time a French ship with people on board, Americans on board, known as the Sussex. Now again, if you know that the Germans are blowing up all ships in the vicinity of Great Britain, and you know that they've done it once, and you know that they're at war with France, so they're definitely going to blow that ship up. Why you would get on it, I don't know. But what ends up happening is there are Americans on the ship. Woodrow Wilson, once again, demands an apology and wants them to sign the Sussex Pledge. And the Sussex Pledge says that Germans must warn ships before they blow them up. Germans must warn the ships before they blow them up. The Germans agree to do this. They don't really intend to follow it the way that it is written, and I'll explain that in a minute. But because they do, the U.S., once again, does not engage in war. So once again, the United States does not engage. And they choose not to because the Germans agreed to the Sussex Pledge. Well, the Germans agreed to warn ships before they blew up. That didn't mean that they didn't send the torpedo first and then warn the ships they were about to blow up. They found the loophole, they jumped through said loophole, and that's where they lived. But, once again, the United States chooses not to get involved in World War I. So, the question is, what happens? What finally is enough to send the United States to war? Well, it has to do with a telegram and Mexico. Germany sends or intends to send a telegram to Mexico. Now, this is a poorly drawn flag of Mexico because I can't draw the bird, but it's something like a bird right here, and it looks very similar to that, kind of. But anyway, so the problem is that that chain is broken. And the Zimmerman note, which is what it's known as, Zimmerman note is intercepted. Now, the Zimmerman note said attack the U.S. We will come help. And give you the land. Right, wrong, good, bad, fair, not. This is a great deal for Mexico. Problem is, it's intercepted. And it's intercepted by, instead of going to Mexico, it goes to Great Britain, a country that had been begging and pleading and begging and pleading for the United States to get involved in the war. And so they read it. They can't believe it. They send it to the United States. And this is when the United States has had enough. Because after that, the United States says, let's go to war. And this is a big deal because when the United States agrees, right before the United States agrees to go to war, the reason that the Zimmerman note is being sent to begin with is because Russia drops out of World War I. They say, we've had enough, we're not fighting anymore. This isn't going anywhere. And they back out to deal with a revolution that's going on in their own country, the Russian Revolution, which we will go over. And so the United States kind of shows up right as the Russians are leaving. And that was why the Zimmerman note was sent, because Germany needed Mexico to keep the United States occupied. Because if Russia dropped out and the United States never came, all of a sudden Germany doesn't have to fight that two-front war anymore. They can focus all of their attention in France, take out France, then take out Great Britain, and they win World War I. And then they could have come over here and helped and given the United States to Mexico had it played out the way the Zimmerman note intended. But it does not. It is intercepted, it is read, it is sent to the United States, and the United States is on their way. And this is where we're going to stop for today. We'll talk about what happens once the United States joins the war. You do have an assignment on Canvas. If you have any questions about the notes for the day, the notes from previous days, or the assignment, reach out to me and let me know, and have a great day.